All right, welcome in. Happy Friday. It is the Bleav in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Bleav Network. Joining me, a newly converted Braves fan, it looks like. It's Israel Troop, man. Israel, what's up, dude?
What's up, man? Yeah, man. I got this for Christmas. The year that they won it, national champions. So pardon this interruption. So hang on just a minute.
If you would report to the cafeteria until 4 o'clock, for only one in aisle, first through third block, and for TAA, you're expected to report to 4 o'clock. Please report to the cafeteria until 4 o'clock, and you also need to be in dress code. If you're not in dress code, you need to call home or ask.
Make sure you're dress code.
I'll check you out. Thank you.
All right, that's done.
Make sure you're in dress code.
Make sure you're in dress code.
Make sure you're in dress code. I hope you're in dress code. So, speaking of dress code, we are presented by betonline.ag and Row One brand. You can get some vintage watches that will get you in dress code for sure. But BetOnline remains your number one source for all college basketball betting this season. Eventually, college football, NBA, any sport really you want to. But get analysis of every play, prop, and point at BetOnline. You'll find the latest odds. I don't know about bracket contests right now. Hopefully you're doing well, but team matchup and game trends on BetOnline. Updated odds for everything from live games this weekend's Final Four, XFL, NBA, MLB opening day. So all that's happening now. But the Final Four and championship game are the things to bet on this weekend. So BetOnline is your college basketball headquarters this season, at least for the rest of this weekend. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to sign up and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Be sure to use that promo code Bleav, that's BLEAV, to receive your bonus. BetOnline.ag is where the game starts. So you had a pretty interesting trip last weekend. You went to Athens, went to the UGA Football Coaches Clinic, and you got to see spring practice. So first of all, before we get into specifics here, what was the overall experience like? What did you do? How did it go? Like, talk me about what a UGA Football Coaches Clinic looks like.
Man, it was awesome. I got to sit in all the meetings, with Bobo and BMAC, preferably because obviously, receiver, quarterback, OC type deal. But it was great, man. Seeing the facility. They have an arcade in their locker room. Okay, they have a whole arcade in the locker room. I'm talking about with the motorcycle game. They shoot hoops, everything in there. So basically, you really don't have to leave the Butsman building at all. I was definitely impressed by that. The weight room is phenomenal. I even got to go up there and see Ron's new place, athletic training facility. I mean, it is top notch to say the least. I mean, those kids.
There's no excuses for injuries now.
No, there's none whatsoever unless it's really catastrophic, in which Ron is really going to tell you, hey, you good, you can go out there and play anyway. But I mean, it was an amazing trip. They rolled out the red carpet for us. It was upwards of maybe 500 coaches there from all over the country, just kind of trying to see what Georgia does. And let me say this, if you think for 1 second that there's going to be a decline in Georgia football this year, you're sadly mistaken. If anything, there's going to be a different sense of urgency with this group. Kirby Smart is not taking it lightly. He is firing people left and right. He is getting in their butts. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's really different from Coach Rick when I was there. You can definitely tell, just from an intensity factor, not for more so from the coaching aspect, just from, what he says and how he goes about things too. So, I mean, I absolutely enjoyed it. The tempo at practice was awesome. I mean, they were on and off the field. I mean, 15 periods. I mean, some were like 10 minutes apiece. I mean, maybe hour and a half, maybe hour and 40 minutes. So, I mean, it is get you some all day long. There's no and think about it. So, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. They were, very hospitable with all the coaches. Me and Terrence Edwards were sitting there looking at the offense, looking at receivers. He's at Milton as well. So, I mean, it was a great time. I got to see Marcus Washington and a lot of my old Jarius Wynn was there as well, because I think he's coaching now too. Dan Inman.
Where's Jarius?
I think he's at Oconee. Him and Tyson Browning were together, so I'm assuming that he may be doing something with Oconee. Coach Rick's son John was there, and I remember John when he was there, running around with us. So it was good to see everybody, and good to see what's been building up in Athens.
Absolutely, man. That sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like a lot of connections we have that we can get on the show. We've got some things in the works. I got round 2, hopefully cooking with Christian LeMay, Hap Hines, if that's a name that Georgia fans, if you want to look that one up, got a kicker, so that'll be interesting to talk to here down the pike. But so you watch practice, you got to tour the facilities, things like that. The training room was second to none. The arcade, did you get to play the arcade games?
I did not. I was busy talking with Bubbo, and I have Sean Williams and Jarvis Jones up there too, 2 guys that I played with as well. I mean, it was really just seeing everybody, getting in, talking ball with these guys, and just kind of seeing their day-to-day operations. I mean, which is really, really impressive, but how they do it and everything like that. So it is. I mean, it's a well-oiled machine. If you think for 1 second that you can do what they do, you're sadly mistaken.
Right.
At the high school level as us being coaches, I mean, because it is get you some all day until you leave that facility.
Yeah, it seems intense. So let's dive a little deeper in the day to day. I mean, you got to sit in on meetings, things like that. Did you stay through the whole, like, were some of the coaches privy to like the whole process of a full day of practice, or how did that work?
We sat. So when I first got there, I sat through the team meeting. The team meeting is absolutely awesome. I mean, their meeting room is second to none. Every day, Kirby starts off with scenes from practice. And he'll get up there and he'll talk about, hey, intensity and all this stuff, learning how to practice things like that, which he said by the fall, he shouldn't have to have that speech anymore. And a lot less, nice language, as I just said.
Yeah, of course.
And
we all heard the leaked audio.
Oh, and let's just say that audio is not leaked, by the way. He says that on the microphone at practice. So when people say, "Oh, this is leaked," no, he said that. He really did. There's nobody with a fake camera or anything out. No, he said that literally.
Yeah.
Which is amazing to me. But during the team meeting, they go over practice schedule, things like that. There's special team, and the team meeting lasts like 10 minutes, and it is talking. Then, all right, y'all good? All right, let's go. So it is very businesslike. Then the first day I sat in with BMAC, Brian McClendon, and the receivers, me and Aaron Smith were sitting right next to each other, which is really cool. He is a phenomenal young man, by the way. Just seeing his attention to detail. He was helping some of the younger guys too as well. So it was really cool.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love hearing that. The receivers are kind of taken to it, and there's a lot of competition in that room.
Mm-hmm.
So what was BMAC's meeting like? Like, what, when you get down from the team meeting, obviously the intensity of a team meeting, but like, does the position meetings match the intensity? Is it like more of a teaching session? Is it, what is that like?
It is more, but the way the technology is today, they can send out the playbook and pretty much the schedule immediately. So once they're done with their staff meeting, they can go ahead and send it out. So all you got to do is look at your phone or your laptop, and you kind of know what's being installed and what's going on the day before. So basically, the position meeting is more so of a refresher. Like, hey, this is what y'all saw. We sent it out to you last night. This is what we got. Any questions? All right. If there's anything else that's kind of changed in between, it's kind of like that. So and basically just going over the schedule for the day. So it's pretty much you have to study your playbook. I mean, obviously, if anything new goes in, they go over it. But I mean, it's pretty much you're independent. I mean, this is what we're gonna do. These are the drills we're going over. It's basically just an explanation of what's going on. Obviously, because it's spring, ain't too much film to go over other than a couple plays from practice before. Which, by the way, Kirby goes over that, and we'll call you out in any meeting.
Oh yeah,
any particular time.
Does he just pop into all the meetings?
No, he's there the whole time. Any meeting that they go over, he's there the whole time. He was in there for the team meeting, obviously, because he's doing most of the talking. He was in there for special teams. He was in there for the defense, obviously, and he came in for the offensive team meeting that Coach Bubbo had before they broke up for position meetings.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
he is heavily involved in every single thing that they do. So it's not like he's just off and shaking hands and kissing babies. No, he is in every single meeting. He knows everything that goes on.
I love that, man. Like, attention to detail is got to be the most important part, and the reason why that we're going for a three-peat national champions, and the reason why we've been so successful since Kirby took over, having already 3 national championship appearances, winning 2 of them,
Mhm.
and several New Year's Six bowls and things like that, and then the success that he has. You peel back the curtain a little bit, you can see why. The
Mhm.
intensity, the attention to detail, the way they operate the meetings. No stone is left unturned. He's making sure those guys get the information to learn the information, which is what I like from a head coach. It
Mhm.
funnels down into the assistant coaches, and you can tell just everything. Like, even though it's intense, did it seem like a calm intensity? Like, hey, we got this. We just gotta inject some energy into you and some juice.
Oh, absolutely not. It was organized chaos. I mean, he's got that microphone at practice, and they say he didn't realize there was a microphone that hooked up to the speakers outside. So he was hoarse every day. But once he figured out that there was a microphone, I mean, he is basically coaching with the microphone. So if he didn't like anything, you heard it. If they were moving slow, you heard it. Like, he was paying attention to every single person, and it was amazing how he could see every single thing that was going on.
Mhm.
He would have his back turned and he would see what was going on behind him. I mean, it was really impressive. But the intensity of practice, I mean, it is get your butt here, get here now. You're being lazy. Um, Tighten up. Y'all act like y'all tired. I mean, it was very, very impressive, and just seeing the kids like not bitching, moan. Oops, sorry, but not
That's
complaining.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
About it. It was more so like, all right, man, let's pick this thing up and let's go. Because the punishment is, I mean, you got to run out the practice with Coach Sinclair. So
Yeah.
it's like, no, dog, we don't want to do that. So let's pick it up
No,
right
yeah. Coach Sinclair's pretty creative with his punishment runs, so you
there.
don't wanna there's a scale, F around and find out.
Hmm.
You don't wanna test that graph.
Absolutely not.
You really
Absolutely.
don't. After seeing the pictures of Brenton Cox doing wheelbarrows in the stadium during a spring scrimmage,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a pretty good deterrent,
Yeah.
for
And
getting in trouble.
And the best thing that I learned, one of those things to where preferential treatment to players. No, Brock Bowers got cussed out. I mean, Nolan Green, who was repping that corner with the ones he got cussed out. I mean, everybody's fair game with him.
Yeah.
Um, Marcus Washington, who I play with, his son is now at Georgia now too.
Mhm.
He just had a rough day, and Kirby said, "I'm glad your daddy here to see you get kicked out." You know what I mean? So he
Yeah.
does not bend the rules. I mean, everybody's fair game. Even coaches, if the players aren't moving like they're supposed to, he's getting on coaches too. And nobody takes it personal. Everybody just
Right.
comes and does what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not meant to be that way. So yeah, I mean, that's good, man. I love that. I just love hearing that the practices are intense. I love hearing that there's no preferential treatment. That's great. Now let's talk like your observations from practice as
Mhm.
far as personnel. We've kind of previewed a little bit. We've kind of talked about some of these things you saw firsthand. That first of all, were the pads on, and let's start with the quarterbacks. Like, what's your assessment of the quarterbacks just from what you saw over that trip?
From what I saw, if I'm going into game one, Carson Beck is definitely the guy. I mean, the kick is spinning. I mean, he looks comfortable in the pocket. I mean, our offensive line. I mean, Amaris Mims is a large human being. Okay. Um, Tate Ratledge is a large human being. So I mean, these guys up front are absolutely massive. So they were walking by me. They were going to walk through, and I'm like, oh my god, just looking up at them like Jesus Christ. So talking to Coach Searles, I mean, Mims could pretty much play anywhere across the line. If he really wanted to. But he's holding down tackle spot. So I mean, but with Carson Beck, I mean, the way it's the ball's coming out his hand, the way he's commanding the offense right now, I think he's the guy. So that number 2 spot though is going to come down to a battle because Brock and Gunnar look very, very good when I was up there. So um, they're battling. I mean, they're working together obviously as well, but it's obviously a competition at practice. I mean, they're all getting equal amount of reps, so it's not like one's getting more reps than the other one. Like we talked about earlier in the earlier episode,
Yeah,
split the
they
reps up.
haven't. Yeah,
They
they
all
haven't
got
determined the
the same.
pecking order just yet as far as
Yeah.
reps go.
And
It's everything's
sometimes
equal.
Gunnar go with the ones and Beck go with the twos and vice versa with Brock, so they kind of spin it around a little bit. So, I mean, watching one-on-ones and stuff, I mean, those guys are there's no drop off at all. The only drop off that I saw with Carson is his speed, but I mean, he can still get out the pocket. He can still maneuver in the pocket as well. Um, Gunner broke, like a power read type deal that I saw. That kid's obviously got wheels, and Brock did as well. So on a zone read. So I mean, it is going to be a competition. But if we had to play tomorrow, it would definitely be Carson Beck.
Okay. Yeah. So I got a text from you while you were on the trip, and you said Brock is a beast. Carson is the starter, but the other two aren't far behind. So that that pretty much
they're definitely not far behind. And Brock Powers is definitely a beast. Me and Terrence Edwards were right beside each other watching during the team period during one-on-ones. We're like, this young man is special. He's definitely the best tight end in the nation, hands down.
For sure.
But we got another one. Lucky's there.
Pierce Spurlin. Well, he's injured right now, but he's supposed to be.
He is a specimen himself.
Talk about Delt. What does he bring?
Delt had a rough day. he kind of got the Kirby foot in the butt a little bit, but I mean he bounced back the next day. So I mean, you're gonna have those days.
Mm-hmm.
But we legit have 3 tight ends just like we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean it is gonna be tight end city. They do a lot of stuff, with tight end, 11 personnel, 12 personnel.
Is it still very similar to last year's offense? Did Bobo kind of adapt?
Very, very, very similar. They do. They kept a lot of terminology in, and Bobo just kind of sprinkled his flavor on it a little bit. But they do just so much, within the offense to where it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
So where you're at, that's what you play. You know what I mean? So you just kind of got to know it's basically you just got to know the concept of what's going on. And I mean, it was quick. It was easy. I mean, they're using, headset stuff at practice, which is kind of the same thing we do here, just so you get used to it coming down from the top and you can hear it and, you can roll with it, signals and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I
mean, it was really impressive how they did everything.
Yeah, headsets are important. I think it's it seems kind of silly to have headsets at practice, but I think just getting used to hearing the call is good. But you're a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the wide receivers. We got 2 new ones, Thomas, Dominic Lovett. We got some of the freshmen that's coming in. Then you have Dylan Bell, who was a standout freshman a year ago. And then you have the incumbents, Arian Smith, Marcus Rosemy, Jack Saint, and you have Ladd McConkey, those guys. So talk about the weapons there on the perimeter. Who's making the biggest push? Like who are the ones right now? Who's making the push for playing time? Who's going to be a sleeper? Like give me all the lowdown on the wide receivers.
Oh man. Well, let's just say that Meeks, Rosemy, Jack Saint. By the way, Meeks is a huge human being. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was very impressed by the fact that this large young man can run and do the things that he does. Okay. Rosemy Jack Saint is a very tall, AJ body type style, but more muscle at the moment.
He's only listed at 6'2". That's probably
he is a big 6'2". Okay. With pads on. Arian Smith is Arian Smith, man. He's a student of the game. I mean, I enjoyed sitting next to him and listening to him. He'd ask me questions and stuff too as we went. Ladd McConkey is going to be Ladd McConkey. Oh, by the way, he got yelled at too for fumbling. So
don't fumble, lad. Come on now.
That was not a good deal with Kirby at that particular point. But those 4 guys right now are the staple of what we do. They do a really good job. The new kid, I think you just mentioned him. What's his name? Give me just a minute. I had notes that I wrote down. Oh yeah, Dylan Bell did a really good job as well. I was really impressed with him. I think the coaches really love him too. He's very physical. Between him and Arian Smith, those are the 2 most physical guys that we got right now on the perimeter. But our 2 new guys that came in that just transferred in, Thomas and
Dominic Lovett.
Lovett right now, he's the one. In my opinion, right now, he's the better of the 2. Is just kind of raw right now. He's still kind of learning. But the great thing that they do is they split practice up to where, the new guys that come in like Lovett and Thomas, they get reps as well. Like while the 1s and 2s are going, they're still getting reps. You know what I mean? But it's just not with the 1s and 2s. So
right.
If you don't see them with the 1s and 2s, I mean, I wouldn't worry about it too much. You still got fall camp, but they're still learning the offense as well. So they're new. But love it. I mean, he's the real deal. I think he can definitely help us. I mean, going 10 personnel this year, I mean, is going to be absolutely wonderful. I mean, going empty, you know,
Yeah.
is going to be absolutely wonderful if you want to take hours out. You know what I
Can
mean?
he be a jet sweep guy
Yeah.
per se?
Most definitely. Most definitely. So I think Arian right now is the jet sweep guy. But, you know, you got a bunch of guys over there that can get the job done. So I didn't really get to see the new guys that came in other than those guys. But, you know, BMAC's doing a phenomenal job with them. I mean, they're very receptive, and they're competing. You know, that's the main thing. So we're going to throw screens, things like that. So they got to be able to block on the perimeter, and that's one thing, you know, that Kirby harped on and BMAC harped on while we were in the meeting. And we also know that how Bobo is about physicality.
Yeah, he wants you to block on the perimeter. That's for sure. You don't block, you don't get the rock. So Denylin Morset, did he stand out at all?
I didn't get to see him very much. You know, from talking to everybody and doing all that stuff, you know, I kind of missed a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But just watching like Dejan, Branson Robinson, you know, because I tried to kind of watch the running backs as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Branson's a man child. They're calling him Baby Chubb, right?
look, man, that he broke one and he's got speed. I mean, it is impressive to watch that young man run the ball. Got to see my boy Dejan, first one out the meeting. Man, what's up, Coach Troop? So good to see him. He's gotten bigger. I mean, he looks phenomenal. So I mean, he is. It's going to be a good year to be a dog. I tell you that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so 3 Pete's on, right? At least
It
offensively, we're not going to skip a beat, huh?
If it is any indication of how practice went, I mean, the 3-peat is definitely on. You know, I think the only people that can beat Georgia is Georgia right now. You know, just seeing how just when people talk about, oh, Kirby's lost a team, he doesn't know what he's doing, decisions he's making, y'all should go to practice. You know, if you ever get a chance, you know, if you got all this to say, just go to practice and watch. You know, and being a Georgia fan, you know, we do this podcast and stuff. You know, we're very objective and we're supportive and stuff like that. But we're also coaches as well. So you know, the decisions are made. We're like, that's a head scratcher. But when you go to practice, you'll see why those decisions are made. I mean, it is very, very clear why they're doing this. There's definitely a rhyme and a reason as to what they're doing, why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Does it make it easier? I mean, I sense that every period is highly competitive, matching guys up and putting guys in the pressure cooker. That's why. Do you feel like that's why it's easy to make the evaluations?
Oh yes, every period outside of a walkthrough is a competition. Every single period. They do a really good job of practicing. So why we're so good at tackling, because we tackle. You know, not take them to the ground, but fundamental part of tackling every single day is what they do. So outside, like I said, outside of a walkthrough, I mean, and you know, routes on there and stuff like that. I mean, it is a competition for every single thing that they do. So I mean, it's real easy to see who's gonna get the job done and who's not.
Right. That's good. I mean, that just makes it easy. So, but so you mentioned tackling, you mentioned the defensive side of the ball. Mykel Williams has now, since you saw him, has suffered a foot injury. But I mean, you could tell in the Peach, you could tell all season long, but really like in the Peach Bowl and down the stretch of the season, he was a beast, especially when Nolan Smith went down. So he's going to be the real deal, given that he recovers fine from his foot, which I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. But obviously he was the showpiece there at the outside linebacker position. We know that. He confirmed that. What other pieces? Now, I would, like, if I was there, I probably would have focused defensively on the outside linebackers because there's been so much movement at that position. But like defensive front wise, like linebackers in general, defensive front guys, like what stood out to you besides Mykel Williams? That one was pretty obvious.
Watching these big young men run. Okay, I mean, they're talking about chase the ball. I mean, I watched Zach House chase the ball from the middle of the field. Okay, lose contain and chase the ball all the way to the sideline and make the tackle. You know what I mean? So watching him run, Barry Alexander, watching him run, Chambers, watching him run, those guys, just watching them run is very, very impressive. You know, so it is a get to the ball right now. And if you ain't on the ball, like, you're getting punished after practice. You know what I mean? So, and it's not, and for them, I mean, it's not really an intense factor. It is, I want to do this. You know, it is a want to get to the ball. You know what I mean? If you don't get to the ball, you're getting called out. Because I mean, on the defensive side, it's a tough deal when your coach is a defensive minded guy because he is looking at every single thing you
He
do.
is hyper focused.
You know what I mean? So on that side, outside of those guys, I mean, because I was more so looking at the offense, but I mean, those three really stood out to me. Tell you what, between Smil Munden, Stark, Taki Smith, Nyland Green, I mean, so
Yeah,
many other names.
I was going to ask you about the back end. Like, what's the cornerback? Yeah, I feel like, and I've read some reports that he's giving Smoke Bowie the Richard LeCount treatment, where he's just on him more than anybody else.
Yes, he is. He is. He's not very nice at times. I mean, he calls out everybody. Gabriel Harris, who we played against TCC, and ended up going to IMG. He was giving him the business that day. You know what I mean? You're a 5-star and you're getting beat by 3. You know, just things like that kind of keep him going. You know, so I mean, it is highly competitive. But the back end looks really good, man. They look really, really good.
Are they in tune finally? Like that was the main issue, was when we switched to zone coverages, they just sometimes break down in communication.
Yeah, the communication factor is definitely they're still learning, because obviously you got some new pieces on the back end now too as well. But for the most part, I mean, they look really, really good. You know, just watching everything that they do, how they do it. You know, Coach Muschamp, Coach Schumann have done a phenomenal job on that side, as far as, you know, teaching and correcting that stuff, obviously. So I'm really looking forward to the spring game and kind of seeing who plays where actually, because you see bits and pieces, and obviously, like I said, I was concentrating more on the offense than anything, but you definitely see, you know, that spark that they're gonna knock the hell out of you. It's coming.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's pretty obvious. If you haven't watched Georgia football in the last 6-7 years, it's a much more physical bunch. So they're going to thump you. So who's taking the Chris Smith role? Who's taking over for him?
I think Taki is. Just from looking at it, Buller had a really good day. I mean, in Stark, I mean, he's Stark to start. You know what I mean? So I think they got a good rotation on the back end. A lot of guys kind of played that spot when I was there. Nyland Green was one corner who looked really, really good, in my opinion. And, you know, we've been waiting on him for a long time.
We've been talking about him for a while. Yeah,
he looks tall, strong. But I didn't get to see the other corner because we were on one side of the field, as the coaches were. But I mean, the back end's they're going to be fine. I mean, if you can guard those that we got a while right now, you're going to be fine. Yeah, I don't think there's any receiving core as a group better than what we got at Georgia right now, from tight end all the way out wide.
Well, even the freshman receivers are going to give you a good look because they're super talented. Like on scout team, you know, you're going to get those, and those guys are going to get to go against the ones on defense, so they're going to get good. I mean, just the recruiting factor has the reason why we develop is because, you know, what you said, everything's a high pressure competition. B, the young guys are going against the ones, whether it's the young defenders or the young offensive guys, whether it be linemen or skill guys, backs, whoever, young.
And everybody's getting work from 1s, 2s, and 3s, 4s, 5s, whatever you're at, you're getting work somewhere.
Yeah,
like you're getting evaluated. So if you transfer from the University of Georgia, that's on you, big dog. Like that is definitely on you.
Yeah,
I see that. You're the odd man out, which it happens, especially when you come into a highly competitive school. You know, things like that. You know, it's not anything bad on your part or anything like that, but you know, from a competitive standpoint, you know, this guy is better than this guy. I mean, it's night and day. You know what I mean? And I respect that. You know, and you know, if you've noticed, not many people have transferred out of Georgia. You know, if they transferred, is because they just weren't that guy. You know, and they go on to be really good because they finally got that opportunity. You know, go to somebody else.
They were just stuck in a numbers game at Georgia. They go to Arkansas and or they go wherever, and they end up standing out. And
like Landers, I mean, he was able to come back and do our pro day at UGA, and there was no hard feelings. I mean, he just wasn't that guy at that particular time. You know, I think he had a great season. I think he's going to do, you know, very well with his opportunity. But when you're not that guy at that particular moment, you know, I think it is These
You got to do what you got to do. I mean, we talked to Christian about it. I mean, he was kind of in that similar situation. He goes to Jacksonville State and has a good end of his college career and gets into, his, if you want to go back and listen to his story, we have a full episode on him. But, it just, transferring is, I think fans get wrapped up in like, you're dumping us, you're leaving the G, you're betraying us, when really it's, hey, I got to do what's best for me. It didn't work out. And a lot of guys that transfer, the majority of them, there's no hard feelings. It just, for whatever reason, didn't work out. Now, some, they get in trouble, they get kicked out, or some are bitter. I mean, it's just kind of the way of the world. But again, it's a competition. Some people can handle it, some people can't. And so, I was thoroughly impressed with the reports. I've seen, I follow the social media accounts and stuff, and I'm thoroughly impressed. Kind of just what I see from even just those small snippets of videos of the guys and what they're doing. I mean, you can't really gain a whole lot from that, but in some ways you can. So it's
whatever you see, add about 1,000% more intensity to that, because they're balls to the wall the whole entire time. And let me say this as well, just because he was a 5-star when he came out or whatever, when he gets there, he ain't a 5-star no more. He's low man on totem pole. And he's going to have to prove it, not just to, his position coach, but to Kirby. You know what I mean? Because he is a results guy. He cares about the result. What is the result? If you go to class and you're supposed to do the result, you're going to graduate. Right. You're just supposed to do on the football field or a result, you're going to play. You know what I mean? So he's very result driven. And, if that's what you want to do, that's the guy you want to play for, you'll survive. If you can't handle it, then you might want to look to go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good thing for you. So, well, that bell is a good omen. So we again, we're presented by Row One, the Row One brand as well. Vintage art watches. They take old pieces of art. So you have a museum on your wrist. It's just a one art museum, but it is a work of art on your wrist, and it's a good showpiece. I heard the thing about dress code earlier on your announcements. It will definitely get you in dress coded most places. It'll be a cool piece, cool conversation piece. So go to row1brand.com. Dogs20 is your promo code, 20% off. Make sure you order. So also subscribe to us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Find us anywhere you find your podcast, SiriusXM app, Apple, Spotify. Anywhere that you get us, find us, like us, subscribe, drop a comment, tell a friend, shout it from the rooftops. So, but as we approach G-Day, we'll discuss kind of more of this stuff more in depth. We'll kind of break down and just kind of compare recent practice notes to things that you've seen as we push through the spring. Now that you got your idea of kind of what you've seen and what you've heard and what you've been through at the UGA Coaches Clinic, I think that'll be valuable for this as we grow. So, but we are the Bleav in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Bleav Network, presented by betonline.ag and the Row One brand. For Israel Troop down in Ware County, the newly minted Braves fan, I'm Corey Burton here in Nashville, Tennessee. And until next time, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Do you believe?